attacks in your living room. Creepy little gremlins oozing slime in your VCR. Stacks of films to frighten and entertain, hiding in your closet and duplicating on your shelves. It's time to watch. It's time to be scared. Don't look behind you. It's a mess back there. It's a VHS overload. Don't look behind you. It's a mess back there. It's a VHS overload. Oh, 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 oh.
Howdy, gang. Hey, Gory Tiger. Good to see you in here again. And every time I get ready to get on here, my necklace is slid around like that, but that doesn't matter. Um, but I wanted to say right off, I really wanted to do this stream. I don't like to schedule streams and not do them. However, I am not feeling as well as I could. So probably not going to be on here very long unless people want to ask me questions about these movies. None of which I have on VHS, so I had to get images from out there on the internet for these 8 extremely rare horror VHS that I'm going to bring up tonight. If my voice doesn't go. But I got my old buddy Jack with me here tonight, as usual, for the Halloween season. Apologies that I am late once again and didn't get on here at 8 o'clock. Made it before 10 though, but apparently that's too late for people because I'm not really seeing anybody in here other than Gory Tiger, who I appreciate being in here. And, again, it could be that other people are doing streams, or this could just be a bad time. It could just be too late for people. But I'm going to get on here and I'm going to do this nonetheless. And I just want to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way first. We still got some programming coming up for the rest of the week because it's only Tuesday. So tomorrow night, we're going to have another Evil Dead Chicks top 10. And I'm going to be talking about the top 10 kills in the entire Friday the 13th franchise. Not the remake. I don't really have anything against the remake, but I wanted to keep it at the original Friday the 13th series. All right. So Thursday night, both of these nights, hopefully I'll get my butt in gear and get started at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But Thursday night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, will be another They're All Messed Up. And I'll be talking about Don't Open the Door and Frightmare. This is Pete Walker's Frightmare from 1974. There is another film that's called Frightmare, but that's not the one I'm going to be talking about, okay? I'm also going to be talking about the kills in each because, yeah, that's what we do on They're All Messed Up. A little bit into the future, on November 21st, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be another Evil Dead Chicks slumber party. This is going to be Evil Dead Chicks, A Nightmare on El Dorado slumber party, and we're going to be watching The Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. So Be sure to bring your stay awake pills, plenty of caffeine, all that good stuff so you can stay awake for the two movies, and also so Freddie won't get you. And again, I am so sorry that my voice is it's almost like I'm straining to talk, and hopefully it won't go out on me till after I finish the stream. Um, we also will have a premiere of the Aussie's October Burrito movie Munchies this Sunday. That video has already been pre-recorded, and I will be putting it up on Sunday for you folks. On Saturday will be another watch along. The film was chosen by you fine folks out there as Halloween 4. So Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be watching Halloween 4. And just one more thing I'm going to get out of the way, and then we're going to get to these rare horror VHS. So, I reached my 1,000 subscribers milestone, but I want to keep going, folks. So I still want to encourage those of you that haven't subscribed. I'm going to tell you some ways that you can support me in the channel, and they won't cost you a dime. And one of them is by subscribing. If you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, folks? There's no better time than the present to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the stuff that I've got coming up. Hit that like button. So sorry. Hit that like button for anything that you particularly enjoyed. And heck, if you liked it all, hit that like button all across the board. And here's yet one other way that won't cost you a dime and won't cost the person you tell about my channel a dime. And that is to share my channel with friends and family members that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out. And I'm going to do you a solid and put my channel handle in the chat there for you. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to get to these rare horror VHS. And these are not in any particular order or anything, just how I took them from the list and got the visuals. All right. So this is Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. A lot of you horror fans have probably heard of this movie. I have yet to see Tales from the Quad Dead Zone, but it is directed by the same guy that did Black Devil Doll from Hell, which is also on this list. And I have seen Black Devil Doll from Hell, but not seen Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. Three Tales of Evil Beyond Belief, it says. And I'll tell you a little bit about Tales from the Quad Dead Zone, since I haven't actually seen it. So, Tales from the Quad Dead Zone is a shot-on-video film by Chester Neville Turner. Again, the same guy that did Black Devil Doll from Hell. It's a 1987 American anthology horror film written, directed, and produced by Chester Neville Turner. The film was originally released straight to VHS. VHS copies of the film have become collector's items due to the difficulty of locating them and the extremely limited quantities produced, with one copy that actually sold for $2,000 on eBay. Since its release, Tales from the Quad Dead Zone has received several public screenings, one of which was a 2016 symposium at the Yale University Library, Terror on Tape. And it was finally given a DVD release in 2013 through Massacre Video. So the film has two stories plus a third wrap-around story, Food 4 and The Brothers, both of which are narrated by a mother, Shirley Jones, reading the tales to her deceased son, Bobby. Food 4 centers upon a family that is so poor that they are unable to afford food for every family member. Their only solution is to get rid of some of their family in order to increase the amount of dinner for everyone else. The brother follows two brothers who have hated each other their entire lives and have each made cruel jokes and attacks against the other. When one of them dies, the living brother tries to have the last laugh by stealing his brother's corpse and making him look like a circus clown. Little does he know that his brother's spirit has returned to his body, unhappy with his brother's plans. So, that is, hey Blair, that is the basic plot synopsis for Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. This is a very extremely rare horror VHS. Like I said, one of these actually sold for a whopping $2,000 on eBay. So you'd have to break the bank to get Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. All right. And I also forgot to, not that y'all care or even paying attention, but I forgot to change my font there. All right, so the next one, and I think Steve actually has this one on DVD. I think Massacre Video put this one out as well, and that is 555. And who could forget this cover? Because the the DVD cover looks like this too, as well. So I think I've either seen all of 555. I don't remember a lot of it. Oh, I don't remember a thing about it but the cover. So, so this is listed as a slasher horror film. A psycho dressed as a hippie is killing couples in lakefront. As the police search for more clues and the body count gets higher, they discover every 5 years for 5 days the killer kills 5 couples, hence 555. This was released in 1988. Will they catch this madman or will he get away with it for another 5 years? So, again, 555 is a 1988 American horror film directed by Wally Cause and written by Roy Cause, a direct-to-video release. It stars Mara Lynn Bastian, and now I don't expect that you guys and gals will know these names. Charles Fuller, Greg Kerouac, Greg Nielsen, B.K. Smith, and Bob Grabeel. This was put out by Massacre Video as well. The plot involves the police searching for a murderous necrophile who every 5 years murders 5 couples over the course of 5 nights, with the latest killing spree taking place in Chicago, Illinois. So Wally Cause distributed the film's 500 VHS tapes through his own distribution company originally, Slaughterhouse Entertainment, in 1988. In 2012, the film was released on DVD in both standard and big box editions and VHS in a run limited to 50 copies by Massacre Video. Louis C. Justin, the owner of Massacre Video, acquired the rights to the film from Roy Cause. A week after negotiations stalled, Justin received an email from Cause offering him the rights to the film for the price of a new engine as the diesel motor on his boat broke. The film's master tape was heavily degraded, so Justin resorted to splicing its usable footage with footage taken from an original VHS copy of 555. Massacre Video reissued the film on Blu-ray in 2024, which was just last year. So, needless to say, this film didn't get very good reviews. Scott Aaron Stein, author of The Gorehound's Guide to Splatter Films of the 1980s, found the film's acting and splashy gore effects unconvincing and wrote, being a shot on video production, no one will or should have high expectations for this number. Sean Leonard of Horror News criticized many aspects of the film, but admitted it was not by any means a horrible movie and concluded, is it worth paying a lot of money to own? No, not at all. But is it worth a view? Definitely, if for no other reason than to appreciate the love of the genre that is evident throughout. And Peter Normanton, author of the Mammoth Book of Slasher Movies, gave the film a score of 3 out of 5 and opined that it was unabashed in its excessive indulgence of misogynistic sleaze and gore before concluding, for sure it was a low-budget exploitation, but no one could deny the Cause family's boundless enthusiasm. And of course, Rue Morgue, in retrospect, said the film was deemed so bad it's good and a cult classic due to its prevalent gore, as well as the blood-spattered boobies, errant boom mics, mismatched screams, and hilarious dialogues. And 555 was one of the early direct-to-video films selected for inclusion in the Sterling Memorial Library at the Yale University Library. Okay, so that's all I got for 555. So the next one is the next one on this list, directed by Charles Neville Turner. This is Black Devil Doll from Hell. Folks, I have seen Black Devil Doll from Hell. It's entertaining, to say the least, that you could believe that somebody would make a movie like this. Is it a good movie? No. I'm not even going to lie about that. Hey, Acres of Movies, I can't say that I like or dislike Tales from the Quad Dead Zone because I haven't actually seen it. But I have seen Black Devil Doll from Hell. And I'll tell you a little bit about Black Devil Doll from Hell here. It's basically the story of a woman finds this doll in a thrift shop or a pawn shop or whatever you want to call it. And she's kind of, a real Christian woman, salt of the earth type person. And she, doesn't want to have sex until after she's married and all that stuff. And the doll basically comes to life in her home and seduces her into having sex with it. That's basically the wild story in a nutshell. So Black Devil Doll from Hell is a 1984 American horror film written, produced, and directed by Chester Neville Turner in his directorial debut. So this one was made before Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. The film stars Shirley Jones as Helen, a working class woman, then a working class black woman, then an unheard of protagonist in the genre dominated by white actors. Keep in mind this was back in 1984. While it considered a cult classic, Black Devil Doll was filmed during the 1980s boom in home video. Despite its crude, low-budget style, the bizarre sexual tale is frequently described as a pioneering work, and Turner himself is an auteur with independent horror filmmaking. Although Turner stated he had plans for a sequel, the project never materialized. He would only go on to make one more film, which was Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. So, again, Helen Black is a devout, church-going Christian. Despite pressure from her friend to seek out sex, Helen is determined to abstain from sex until marriage. She also meets a man in her neighborhood who sells stolen items out of his car's trunk. Helen chastises the man for his unchristian behavior. One day, Helen wanders into Rosie in the store advertising a variety of treasures. She is intrigued by a puppet resembling a black man. The store proprietor warns Helen that the puppet comes from the East India and possesses strange powers to satisfy its owner's desires. Helen does not believe the proprietor and purchases the puppet. After the attack, or wait a second, after Helen brings her puppet home, she begins to feel unusual sexual desires. She starts to believe the puppet is responsible. Soon the puppet comes to life, attacks Helen, and sexually assaults her. After the attack, Helen develops an insatiable drive for sex. She seeks out sex from the neighborhood thief she met earlier and then from men at a local dance club. These lovers fail to satisfy her. Helen returns to the puppet and begs it for sex. The puppet does not respond, and Helen threatens to destroy it. The puppet, provoked, drives Helen to madness. She collapses, bleeding and seemingly dead. And then the puppet somehow returns to the store where Helen bought it, where another woman buys it and takes it home. So, pretty basic story, but very wild. And, it's just exactly, well, if you can't imagine it, it's just exactly as it is written about. I found myself laughing and going from laughing to being like, what in the heck am I watching? So that's Black Devil Doll from Hell. Sorry, folks, I cannot talk tonight. But Black Devil Doll from Hell, by the same director of Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. All right, so the next one is another one that I've actually seen, which is Blood Frenzy. Now, I kind of like this movie. It tells the tale of I guess you would call them an encounter group. All these people have issues and they go out in the desert or whatever with an instructor, and they're supposed to work out all their issues. And but someone is killing them off out in the desert. And I like the way this movie opens with one of a pair of siblings killing their abusive parent in a very bloody way, and people were killed, years later in a very bloody way. And like I said, when compared with some of these other films, I rather enjoyed Blood Frenzy. It's a good little slasher film. So I can tell you a little bit more about Blood Frenzy. So Blood Frenzy is a 1987 American slasher film directed by Hal Freeman. And guess who stars in it? Lisa Loring. Anybody remember Lisa Loring? Lisa Loring played Wednesday Addams on the 1964 to 1966 sitcom The Addams Family. And I think later on in life she got into some adult films, and eventually she passed away, which is very sad. But Lisa Loring was also in Blood Frenzy. So it says here that a psychiatrist takes a group of her patients out into the desert for a therapy session where they are stalked by a killer. And Lisa Loring plays Dory in the film. The film was based on a script by Ray Dennis Steckler. And if that name sounds familiar to you, it probably should. For people that watch a lot of horror movies and watch a lot of bad horror movies, because Ray Dennis Steckler did a lot of them. Most of them starring his wife at the time, Carolyn Brandt, who he was married to from 1963 to 1973. He did such lovely films as The Incredibly Strange Creatures Who Stopped Living and Became Mixed Up Zombies. He also did something called The Trooper, and I'm forgetting what was the other title of it. He also did Diabolical Dr. Voodoo, Teenage Psycho Meets Bloody Mary, The Thrill Killers. He did produce some hardcore adult films during the 1970s and 1980s as well. But I'm not seeing that one movie that I remember that he did. I know Ray Dennis Steckler did it. But I think it, under one title was called The Trooper. And he died in 2009 of cardiac arrest at the age of 70, folks. But anyway, back to Blood Frenzy. Um, It was based on the script, like I said, by Ray Dennis Steckler called Warning, No Trespassing. Ted Newsom was hired to rewrite by Hal Freeman, who had made a lot of money making pornographic films and wanted to expand into other genres. Newsom made the script a cross between 10 Little Indians and Friday the 13th. He says Freeman financed the film entirely himself. Newsom wrote a follow-up for Freeman called Judgment Night about a convicted murderer who escapes prison, seeks revenge. Freeman died before it was made. So that is Blood Frenzy. This is probably my favorite of these that I'm going to talk about, of the ones I've seen anyway. All right. So the next one, this is pretty pertinent now. This is Hack-O-Lantern. And I just got I think I got a Blu-ray of Hack-O-Lantern recently. But apparently the VHS is rare. Now, is Hack-O-Lantern a very good movie? No, I'm not even going to tell you it is, right? So, what's Hack-O-Lantern about? It came out in 1988. It's listed as a slasher horror. A kindly old grandfather is actually the leader of a murderous satanic cult which sacrifices its victims on Halloween. You can watch Hack-O-Lantern on Tubi right now if you would like. It's directed by Jag Mundra. It stars High Pike, Gregory Scott Cummins, and Katina Gardner. And you may not have heard of any of those people. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know this piece of trivia. This was another one that Massacre Video ended up putting out. But this was featured on the People's Court on February 19th, 2021, when Massacre Video, who released the Blu-ray, went against someone uploading it on their YouTube channel. It was also ripped by Riff Tracks on October 28th, 2022. It was filmed in 1986, but not released until 1988. Trying to see if I could find out any more about Hack-O-Lantern. There's not a whole lot here. There's a little bit that says a young man under the influence of his evil grandfather can only achieve manhood through a Halloween night murder. And Massacre Video actually lists this as you can get it for $15 on Blu-ray on their site. I thought they said it was something like a Giallo or something, a mix of Giallo and a lurid mix of slasher, Giallo, and supernatural horror set in a frenzied world of satanic panic. So they also give a little blurb about this. When Tommy was a boy, he saw his grandpa, played by High Pike, the leader of a vicious satanic cult, murder his father in a brutal ritual on Halloween night. Now Tommy, played by Gregory Scott Cummins, is 18 and grandpa is ready to indoctrinate him into the ways of the black arts. As night approaches, someone dressed like a member of the cult, whose face is hidden behind a devilish mask, begins stalking and killing people connected to Tommy. Could it be Grandpa, Tommy himself, or someone even more sinister behind these increasingly brutal murders. And like I said, it's directed by Jag Mundra, who also did Open House and the Jigsaw murders. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to, check it out on Tubi, you can definitely do so right now. So that is Hack-A-Lantern. I like Hack-A-Lantern okay, but not as much as I do Blood Frenzy. I'll be totally honest. All right, so here's one I hadn't really heard of, nor have I seen. This is Attack of the Killer Refrigerator. It's got a girl scantily clad with a little cartoon bubble coming out. It says, "Oh no, I just hate code cuts." Now, this this definitely looks like it might be shot on video type of material. So let's see if we can find out a little more about this. Actually, TerraVision Records has this. Okay, well, let's see what Bleeding Skull says about Attack of the Killer Refrigerator, because I like the Bleeding Skull people. Okay, so uh, Attack of the Killer Refrigerator is what happens when someone throws a party and then decides to video cam that party and call it a movie. Shot with pocket change on half-inch tape somewhere in Massachusetts by co-directors and writers Savino and Bowe, Killer vies with Boarding House, Sledgehammer, and Black Devil Doll from Hell as one of the first publicly released shot-on-video horror productions in the history of the United States. Unfortunately, the film wasn't distributed on video until the end of the decade, so the big guns win by default. But Killer is only 15 minutes long, folks. 15 minutes long. Wow. Everyone can benefit from that, according to Bleeding Skull. Handwritten titles invite us to a brownstone built on moaning synths, Mr. Bill impressions in the car's heartbeat city. Last week, a party was thrown with the sole purpose of knocking the shit out of an old freezer with a hammer. They needed the ice. This week, the pissed fridge takes revenge by eating whichever wandering post-coital cast member chances by. There's a lot of VWF haunted house score. The refrigerator breathes fire while the soundtrack breathes tape manipulated madness. More often than not, I couldn't understand what people were saying, and sound emitted from the left speaker only. Beautiful. You know what's great about this film? Bleeding Skull says it's never played for laughs. The content is completely earnest. When you're dealing with a concept as patently ridiculous as a possessed refrigerator, that's no minor feat. Everyone appears to be having a great time, and Sabino and Bo are clearly functioning by the seat of their Jordashes. Attack is a pleasant experiment that anticipates ideas and techniques set forth in the Abomination, Monster in the Kitchen Carnage, and Blood Lake, Righteous Party as movie, but does them one better by cutting out way before we realize what's going on. So there's nothing to dislike. So I will leave that up to you guys and gals. Apparently, you can watch this on Sling TV for free. Some of the rest of the ways, well, you can watch it on Philo for free as well. Or you can buy it along with the hook of Woodland. What here? The hook of Woodland Heights, and also Days Before Christmas. So that one's got like 3 movies. But keep in mind, folks, that Attack of the Killer Refrigerator is only 15 minutes long. So, hey, X-Ray, you say I have that bookmarked. We'll see it eventually. I kind of want to see Attack of the Killer Refrigerator just to see, exactly how bad it can be. So we're down to the last two, folks. So Torture Dungeon is the next to last one that was put out way back when by Midnight Video. Anybody remember Midnight Video? You say only 15 minutes? Maybe I got the wrong refrigerator films. And X-Ray, you also say seems like one of those lost New York City horror flicks. So, Torture Dungeon, I don't recall seeing Torture Dungeon. Might be a good reason for that. But Torture Dungeon was directed by Andy Milligan. You can watch that on Tubi, folks, for free. So I could, I could possibly find this. Came out in 1970. So let's learn a little bit about Torture Dungeon here, shall we? All right. The new Duchess of Norfolk learns that her husband is sadistically killing off the heirs to his kingdom. And it's only an hour and 21 minutes. It's also under the title The Mansion of Madness, I think. If that is the same one. Oh, yeah, and the American Genre Film Archive has some information about it. Falling somewhere between John Waters' Desperate Living and a late period Hammer horror film, Torture Dungeon is an outrageous blast of camp dementia from legendary filmmaker Andy Milligan. The Duke of Norwich is mad as a hatter to prove that he tortures and murders anyone who might pose a threat to his coveted throne. This includes the Duke's hunchback lover, a one-eyed witch, and dirt-eating peasants. In addition to Milligan's patent blend of caustic bickering, no-fi gore, and elegant costumes, this movie also includes the best line of dialogue that the deranged filmmaker ever wrote. I'm trisexual. I'll try anything for pleasure. All right. I may just have to try that one out just to see how how bad or whatever it is. It does have the tagline, an unbelievable orgy of terror, folks. All right, and so the last one I want to talk about tonight is Warlock Moon. You might see Warlock Moon. See what I can tell you about Warlock Moon, folks. Okay, so Warlock Moon is a 1973 American horror film written and directed by Bill Herbert and starring Laurie Walters, Joe Spano, and Edna McAfee. So, a young college student believes she had seen ghosts when she first visited an abandoned spa with an unknown companion who had accosted her and accidentally driven her there. I don't know what that means. Accidentally driven her there. When she goes there to meet him the second time, she ends up the victim of cannibals. This film actually was released on DVD by Shriek Show on August 17th, 2004. Do y'all remember? I may have this as part of the Cannibal Lunchbox triple feature. I'm going to have to go back and look at those. But I don't know if I've watched it or not. Because Shriek Show later re-released the film as part of its Cannibal Lunchbox triple feature on December 4th, 2011. Joseph Zaimba from BleedingSkull.com wrote, shrugging off flaws like dandruff, Warlock Moon is a living urban legend that's supported by a fine haze of low budget 1970s goodness. It's not for everyone, and that's what counts. If you're in tune with your taste, this film is a modest miracle drug. So you could also watch this movie on Tubi for free if you want to check it out, folks. I think I've heard of Joe Spano too, Blair. Hey, Tom. Uh, Trey, you said warlocks aren't as cool as witches. And you also say, reminds me of Julian Sands, who I'm sure Dana found dreamy as fuck. Well, I never really thought that much about Julian Sands. That might surprise you, X-Ray. I guess I don't, I don't know, didn't focus on him that much. Um, but I was on here a little bit longer than I thought I was going to be. I actually, which is what I hoped would happen, I actually got to feeling better the more I talked about these movies. So, but I guess that is it for me for this edition of VHS Overload, where I talked about 8 rare horror VHS. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Tom. I think I've seen that one. It's been a while. If it's the one I'm remembering, it was good. It was a decent one. Um, but of course, I have a lot of favorites. 1970s movies and 1980s horror movies too. Did a remake? Okay. I'm thinking I saw the original. I want to say I did. But I hate to go when there's 7 people in here now, but if I just keep talking, I'm going to wind up rambling. So I want to thank those of you that popped in and kind of kept me company in the chat. Gory Tiger, Blair, I hear some movies, X-Ray, Tom. Um, that's right. You say, yeah, WTF, Dana, stay on. I wish I could, but as I said at the beginning of this, I was feeling a little bad earlier and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do this. And I just kind of pushed myself to go on. And yeah, I do actually have a job to go to tomorrow. It is a remote job, but yeah, it's still a job. I still, get a paycheck from it and all that. So, um, but I should be back tomorrow night. Hopefully, I'll get to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night, talking about the top 10 kills, in my opinion, from the entire Friday the 13th franchise. So, y'all want to tune in for that coming up tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But again, I want to thank all of you guys and gals that were in the chat tonight. I really, really appreciate it. These VHS overloads seem to be a little more popular than some other stuff, but that's okay. I just, keep throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, right? But again, thank you to all you guys and gals that have been in the chat. Thank you to those of you that watched along but maybe didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat. And I also want to thank those of you that will watch this on the replay in advance, because you guys and gals are all important no matter how or when you watch. But as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And if you're a fan of Aussie, get out there, blast some Aussie, and try your best to live the Aussie way. And what do I mean by that? Don't stay stuck in the past, folks. Move forward from the present into the future, and don't ever give up on your dreams. I love each and every one of you guys and gals out there, and I'll see everybody next time.